Hi, I'm Kenna Danielle, and you are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour. I'm Rick Schissler. I'm your host. I'm a Silver Fox advisor and also the founder of OneBestConsult.com. Well, welcome to today's show, and thank you to Lone Star Community Radio for broadcasting our show today. Lone Star is located in Conroe, Texas, the fastest growing city with under 100,000 population in the entire country. So it's a great place to be if you want to talk about business. First question of the day, I'd love to start here. What is the weather like outside today where you are? You know, it's that time of year where many of us experience what I call weather extremes. Hurricanes, droughts, wildfires, tornadoes, all kinds of different extreme weather, particularly this time of the year. Have you prepared your business for these extremes? I'm talking about preparation, not just that your business survives and withstands the storm, the flood, whatever comes your way, but prepare your business perhaps to be able to maintain and stay open for business. Now, no doubt, if you have a flood or a hurricane, you got to shut down, employees, yourself need to go home. But I'm talking about once it's safe to go back to work, are you in a position in your business to continue to do business as usual, considering the circumstances around you? This is a little different kind of preparation, and I encourage you to ask yourself the full question: are you prepared for the extreme weather that potentially could come your way? The Weekly Business Hour is where Montgomery County and businesses throughout the world, since the invent of the internet, come to talk about the latest in business news, ideas to improve their businesses, and be part of conversations that can make a real difference in their business today. That's what we're all about, and we welcome you who are new perhaps to the conversation today. Reminder, the show is broadcast on YouTube. Go to the Weekly Business Hour page, and you can see the program live on Facebook and YouTube. Just click and join the program as it's being broadcast live from the studios of Lone Star Community Radio. Also, another reminder real quick, love questions, love to hear from people. Send us your questions, comments about the show, even questions about your own business. You know, we have a mailbag here, and from time to time, I will bring those questions on the air and provide answers. Otherwise, I'll just email you back. So please, send us an email. It's real simple, onebestconsult@gmail.com. That's onebestconsult@gmail.com. Recently, the Weekly Business Hour made a stop in Cleveland, Ohio, and while we were there, we stopped in to visit with Scott Snider. Scott is the president of the Exit Planning Institute. He has a wonderful background as an entrepreneur as well as a servant leader in his community. Scott will offer some ideas and tips for our conversation and how to maximize your return when you exit your business. He'll also share the experiences of being an entrepreneur and helping business owners grow their own business. You can find out more information about Scott and the Exit Planning Institute by going to www.exit-planning-institute.org. So for now, sit back and listen to our conversation with Mr. Scott Snider of the Exit Planning Institute. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're out and about today. Believe it or not, we're in Cleveland, Ohio. Boy, it's so much cooler here than it is in the Houston, Texas area, Conroe, Montgomery County. But we have a special guest with us today, Scott Snider. Scott's had a wonderful business history, brings a tremendous expertise in building and exiting businesses. He's a leader. He's a lifetime entrepreneur, growth specialist, and he's president of the Exit Planning Institute. Scott, thanks for taking time to talk to us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Always love having an entrepreneurial or value acceleration type conversation for sure.
Well, I'm hoping you'll give some great tips and ideas to our listeners, small business people today who are our primary listeners, business owners. They need all the guidance they can get, and hopefully they will take time. One of the things I push in my consulting work, take time to learn. So, well, let's get started. I mean, wow, we're coming off the back end of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Tremendous challenges for small business, all people around the world. I mean, major event. And we're talking that there's apparently the folks that are in my age bracket are reached an age and they're selling their businesses. They're exiting their businesses. So you must be a busy guy.
Yeah, without doubt. I think that our pandemic gave a different perspective to many people. I think that what I love about particularly the baby boomer business owners, which is they own a good chunk, something like 65% of lower middle market American businesses. I love their ability to handle crisis, right? So I think they're kind of known for that as a generation, but I think that you can only take so many punches before you're like, you know what? I think that it's time to think about what's next. Maybe I have grandkids, maybe I want a smaller company, maybe I want to do some coaching. Maybe I just want to relax because I've been building a company for 20 or 35 something years. And so I think we're seeing companies wanting to exit now because of that. And I also think that we're seeing some companies that are exiting because perhaps it's a little bit of a forced exit. It's kind of in front of them in there, or honestly, they're a lot of our clients, right? Our clients are advisors that are representing owners. They're talking about the potential raise in capital gains tax. So I think there's multiple things that we're seeing coming out on the back end of this pandemic that are kind of giving a different mindset to many owners, not just baby boomers, but really across the board, certainly.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I see in my personal practice, plus my study and reading, that there's an acceleration of this has been projected for some years. The baby boomers will cash out or exit. The pandemic has pushed people along. They don't want to fight fight all the different problems and challenges that were unusual, the PPP loans, all the things they had to do, and decisions about employees that they never thought would be called on that. So yeah, there's an accelerating issue. I think, in fact, I almost believe, I'll ask you this question. Everybody's pushing for the exit. Is the exit getting too crowded? Are there enough people on the other side willing to or able to buy businesses? Are we flooding the market?
Yeah, no, I think that you're right. I think really most owners are going to go to market and they're not going to be able to sell. So they're really going to get kind of smacked in the face and be like, man, I thought I wanted to exit, but I think I'm in this thing for another 2 or 3 years, right? And I think that if you looked at any regular national statistics, something like 70% of companies put on the private capital market or in the private market today don't sell, or they sell for a haircut. So I think what we see is a lot of businesses perhaps coming to market and then coming off the market because either no one was interested or the owner had this, that didn't get the price that they either wanted or frankly needed to fill that wealth gap. But on the back end, I think private equity didn't buy a lot of companies in 2020. So I think if you have a company that showcase you could pivot through the pandemic, super innovative, great people, great product, great customers, I think you potentially could sell at a premium. And what I'm seeing is that we get approached a lot of times by younger folks, perhaps in their late 30s, 40s, maybe even their young 30s, that might be going through like an MBA type program. And I don't think we see it very much now, but I think it's something that could be something that we see in the future, is these folks in their 30s and 40s actually crowdfunding and buying a company together. And so we were like talking to Stanford the other day, and they had questions about, do you think that this could be something that comes to market? Because I think that particularly the millennials, so I think, people in their 30s call it, or early 30s, I think they're some of the most entrepreneurial people. I think they're probably as entrepreneurial as the baby boomers, but millennials carry a lot more debt because they went to college and they went frankly to MBA programs, law schools, all of this stuff. So I just don't think that they have the funding yet. So I think there is buyers on the other side. We certainly are interested in buying companies, and a part of another firm that we own called Snider Premier Growth. But I think that most owners will get kind of pushed back, they'll hunker down for another 1 or 2 years. And to your earlier point, I think that we are finally going to start to see this flood of baby boomers come to the market that we've been talking about. And if you're primed for exit planning, we're going to really see it take place. We've prepared, and the big game has come. So for those advisors that are out there helping owners, I think we'll see companies have a significant change and get back on the market and sell.
Well, and I'm glad to hear that, like you pointed out so wisely, there are alternative sources for buyers.
There are.
Because, and I've talked to people, and some people, as you talk at this level of the conversation, are concerned about the millennials and the Xers stepping up, right?
Yeah.
Want to own businesses. And of course, there's one thing for starting a business versus just buying existing. Two really different animals in so many ways.
Very different. They are very different. I also think that, I like to teach a lot to owners is multiple bites of the apple. Again, those baby boomers that are probably the most immediate people coming to market right now to sell their companies, I think they think about their exit as one bite of the apple. And I actually think that to de-risk, not necessarily your business, but to de-risk your personal financial portfolio, there's multiple bites of the apple that could be had. So talk about employees, people in their 50s or 40s that are qualified, that have been perhaps at the company for a long time, have experienced or exhibited an owner's type of mindset. You sell 10% to these key employees, and you take 10% of the chips off the table. Now you might have to finance the deal a little bit, but I do think I think one of the ways, and we might see this start to come, is to de-risk your personal financial portfolio a little bit, taking multiple bites of the apple along the way. We sell to employees, we run another 5 years down a growth cycle. We might bring in a private equity to buy the next big majority out. The owner still retains maybe 5 or 10%, is along for another 5-year ride. And then perhaps the business is 5 times or more larger, then they sell that last 10%. So they're still growing their business. They're still involved to some extent, but it's really a conversation around diversifying their personal financial portfolio in case another crisis or risk comes around, right? So I think that if you're again, whether you're an owner or an advisor and you're in the exit planning space, I think we're going to see an interesting 3 to 5 years for sure.
You make a great point in the diversification of portfolio as part of the overall consideration of managing, growing, and exiting your business. And one of the things you missed, and I hope people didn't glide right over their heads, but the idea that you can offer employees a piece of the business. Because right now, everybody I know that's trying to hire, everybody I personally know and talk to, are scrambling and to develop a strategy, which some people are. It's some great ideas are popping up out there. They're able to hire the, reduced labor pool that's available. So employee ownership perhaps should be part of short-term and long-term planning. And as you say, a great way to diversify your portfolio. I really like that idea.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that many owners think about their business as a business, as an operating entity, and they don't think about it as just another asset inside of their portfolio. Now, it's probably 80 or 90% of their total portfolio, but it's just another asset. But yeah, I think that especially in the people in their 40s and 30s, I think having an incentive to have equity in a company someday, and yes, you're going to have to buy in to the company, but I think it's an interesting way to retain great talent. It's something that even here at my company, we've already have some of the people at the director type. We have 20 people here and we have a couple of directors, and they've already expressed, given we have this kind of what we would call a value acceleration kind of mindset, they know that Chris and I, this is a family business, my father, Chris, who is, from operationally basically totally outside of the business right now, that along the way, it's a unique way for me to think about how do I buy dad's 51% over the next 5 years. Well, maybe maybe some of my employees buy that. And this way I could retain top talent and have people with a little bit of skin in the game. I think a lot of owners think ESOPs, but in today's world, there's many different ways for employee ownership, but nonetheless, I think an interesting option for sure.
Yeah, it definitely needs some consideration. Well, I'll tell you, Scott, believe it or not, we've gotten through this first segment of the conversation. Some wonderful points have been made. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Scott and talk about growing and accelerating your business and how you can get more out of it. So please stay with us and we'll be right back with you.
Hey y'all, it's DJ Mike from Dance Time in Texas. Join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. as I count down the top 10 Texas Red Dirt songs that are packing the dance floor. I'll be featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service is all about extending knowledge and providing solutions. We do that by using science-based information to create high-quality and relevant education for the people of Texas. More importantly, this outstanding education is delivered locally, right here in our county. We encourage lasting and effective change that helps our communities and our county thrive. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've been having a conversation today with Mr. Scott Snider. Scott is the president of the Exit Planning Institute, the nationally known entity that provides through its various members services to businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses with exit planning strategies and execution. So, Scott, when we went to break, we were talking about consideration of my business as a part of a portfolio and how I should position that part of what I have beyond that operational business. But I'd like to kind of jump over and talk about growing our business. The idea, and one of the terms that you talk about is significance, say, versus success.
Sure.
And I think that's an excellent concept that people need to think about going forward.
Yeah, I think that, again, in the exit planning space, I think when you approach an owner, again, of any generation or age, they're like, look, I'm not really ready to exit my company. So like, let's talk about it at a later point. I think sometimes from an advisory standpoint, our professional advisors are approaching or providing some type of valuation or assessment on our businesses to talk about maybe how successful they are. I think a lot of American business owners are successful, right? They have all the things, right? Everybody has the toys. They have happy employees. They have these types of things. So they're saying like, guys, you know what? I mean, I'm not worried about my exit. Like I make a good chunk of change every year. Everybody seems happy. My customers are happy. And then again, 70% of the businesses actually don't sell. And if you're looking at family transitions, only about 30% of family transitions survive into the second generation, and only about 12% into the third. So even though I guess from an outside in, from like an attractiveness type standpoint, you're like, it looks like a pretty good business. And then they go to market and they don't sell because they found out that they really weren't all that ready. So I started talking about not just being successful, but being significant. And a significant company is one that's valuable and transferable during good times and bad, and that aligns to the owner's personal plan and the personal financial plan of the owner, to kind of connect these three dots that I think lives in really any person's life, but certainly a business owner's life. So how do I connect my business stuff to my personal stuff and to my personal financial stuff? So yeah, we've kind of changed our messaging a little bit to say, look, I know that you're probably pretty successful right now, but that does not mean that you're going to actually be able to transition this largest asset. And so let's move from a successful business to something that's significant and align it to these three aspects of your life: business, personal, and financial.
And that message, I think, is so important. Folks may have different terms or whatever, but
yeah,
those statistics that you offer, particularly 70% of the businesses don't sell. We've heard that from other folks on the show that do exit planning, do exit guidance or whatever.
Sure.
So people need to wake up. And if you own a business and you're listening, you need to consider that. And then, of course, contact people like Scott and some of the other people to understand what you can do differently so you can exit your business successfully. I mean, it's creating that entity, or as you pointed out, transitioning the family. I was in a family-owned business.
Yeah.
With one location and then bloomed into a number of, then got into different areas, and it became quite large. And the second business was larger than the first. And then it came time, well, there was no consideration except let's just sell it, right? So
Right.
could have transitioned other ways, but people got to get on board with looking at this thing, take a real, maybe 2 steps back and look at it.
I know. I think that there's a lot, like we were talking about in the kind of first segment of the show. I think that we're going to see a little bit of change over the next 3 to 5 years in this space, because I think it's certainly more real than it's ever been. We wrote a blog just today, and we said it's time to get real. Your baby is actually ugly, right? So when we're teaching professional advisors, I don't want to say you're walking on eggshells with an owner, but you wouldn't go up to one of your friends when they just had a baby and they're showing all of the baby pictures, like, my wife just had this baby, this is fantastic, and you just look at those pictures, you go, God, that your son is ugly, right? You'd probably get like knocked out or something, right? I don't have any kids, so I would say, like, I don't know how it feels, but if you told my dad that, probably even today, my dad would be offended. So when we're working with advisors, trying to coach them on how to approach owners on this topic, we probably want to be a little bit sensitive that, particularly again for the baby boomer business owner, they might have grown that thing out of their garage, out of their bedroom, out of a small little office space into something much, much larger than it's ever been over the course of 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. So to tell them that their baby is ugly, it's kind of a touchy subject. But I think at some point, given that we're probably on a pretty good exit run over the next 1 to 10 years, it would be a shame not to just kind of put things on the table and say, maybe not with the exact words, but hey, you guys, like I think you just said, which kind of prompted me with this, is let's just get real. Like, what the reality is here. Your business is successful. You crank out a few $1 million a year. That sounds great, but that doesn't mean that it's going to actually transition. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your employees are very happy, your customers are very entangled, or that it really aligns to like what you want to do outside of your business or your personal financial plan. So, I think for a lot of us, if you're certainly a business owner listening, it's okay. It's okay. Like, our businesses need a little work, and they just probably do. You got to take your car in for a tune-up every so often, and we got to tune up our businesses. And if we do so, and we can accept the fact that our baby's a little bit ugly, well, we could probably make a beautiful thing out of it, and along the way be dropping net profit to the bottom line. So we're increasing our money today and building value for tomorrow. So to me, it's a win-win. And for me, I guess today when we're writing this blog, I just kind of was like, let's just put it out there. Like guys, owner to owner, like, let's just get real about it. Because if we get real about it, we can start doing stuff about it right now so that we change that outcome. And 70% of us actually do sell successful, significant companies. So I think it's time to put things on the table a little bit.
Well, and as I alluded to earlier, you've experienced it. It's talked about, that old adage, working on your business, working in your business. And
Yeah.
That is the hardest thing I find when I start working with someone. In most cases, is they're working on. We got to step out, an hour or two a week to go through the process. One of the things I learned early on from one of the senior advisors of the Silver Fox advisors that I'm a member of, he posed the question is, when do you want to sell your business? How much do you expect to walk away with? And that could be money, that could be other things, like transferring to family members and what happens, and then to whom, and then make that decision. Because those are just 3 principles. And in my case, I won't take a client on unless they'll sit down and we'll work together to answer those questions, because you're building a business, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, decisions revolve around certain principles. And you'd be amazed how many people can't complete that exercise.
I agree. I think that, I would say for all business owners, for all entrepreneurs, they are passionate individuals. And I was talking to actually one of my buddies today. He texted me in the morning. We're going to an IndyCar race up here in Ohio this weekend. And he said, and he just texted me about it. And he's like, hey man, sorry if I'm like disturbing anything. I was like, dude, I've been working since 6 a.m. And he's like, man, I'm sorry. And I'm like, nah, this is what you don't get. I actually enjoy it. Like I was actually prepping for a big quarterly renewal that we have and projections for the next, exciting visionary type things. Like I mean, I don't, I'm very passionate about it, but to your point, even it to fault for me as the president of the Exit Planning Institute and one of the owners, that we tend to be so passionate about what we're doing in our business that we don't come out of our business and work on it. And again, not to keep harping on the other two kind of legs of the stool, but we're certainly probably not investigating our personal purpose and who we are outside of the business. And we likely might not be engaging our financial advisor as much as we can. I can tell you right now, I am probably my financial advisor's like worst nightmare. Is that, again, as a millennial, we earn to spend. We're about life experiences. So, he's like, Scott, can you put 20K in that account? Because we're going to do some stuff over here. And he goes into the account and it's a week later and there's nothing in it. And he said, Scott, what did you do? And I said, well, I bought 9 acres of land and we're a good deal. So I'm going to, I think I want to build a house there some days. And he's like, Scott, come on, man. But nonetheless, yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
Scott, believe it or not, we've kind of come towards the end of our time together today. I want to put you a seed for future visits at any time. Love to visit with you. If you could give everybody listening to this program a single bit of guidance going forward, what would it be?
That is a good question. What I would say, business owner, advisor, any type of listener, simply put, exit planning is simply good business strategy. There's nothing different. There are things that we do every single day in our business that will eventually affect that exit. So why don't we start right now? That's what I would say.
Well, amen to that. If folks want to get in touch with you directly, what's the best way for them to do it?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate that. I would say 2 ways. Just go on LinkedIn. I share a ton of content each day. So it's Scott Snider, Snider. And you could always pop on our website at earnsepa.com to kind of download research, learn a little bit more about what we talked about today.
Well, thanks again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of the conversation and we're going to move on down the road. I enjoyed visiting with you in Cleveland today. And
yeah,
I got you the other night watching the movie Draft Day. So
yeah,
with the Cleveland Browns. So that's kind of.
We're going to have a good team this year. We're going to have a good team.
Maybe they need to do a follow-up to Draft Day.
Yeah, sure.
Scott, thanks so much and take care.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you too.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Mr. Scott Snider. I think that conversation, interview, whatever you'd like to call it, provided a lot of great insight, not just to the way to really exit your business and maximize the return on your investment of your business, but a lot of good business observations. Scott's a smart guy, and I really appreciate him taking time to join us. Again, if you want more information about Scott and the Exit Planning Institute, just simply go to their website, www.exit-planning-institute.org for more information on what they do. Well, a reminder, a podcast video cast of today's show will be posted on Wednesday of this week at our website, onebestconsult.com. What's coming up in the second half of today's show? Great question, right on the topic. First, we're going to have a conversation with Miss Vicki Johnson. Vicki's the Executive Director of Montgomery County Habitat for Humanity. And then to close out the show, as we typically do, I'm going to offer you my One Best Consult tip of the week. When was the last time you had one idea to increase the revenue of your business? So please stick around. We'll go to break now, and hopefully we'll see you afterwards. Thanks.
Second Saturday Divorce Workshop provides unbiased information to help you understand your options and move forward with your life. This divorce workshop is for you if you are contemplating divorce, in the process of divorce, already filed for divorce, or post-divorce. You will explore the emotional, legal, and financial aspects of divorce from professionals who have guided others through divorce. For more information on this divorce workshop, contact SecondSaturdayWoodlands.com or call 832-375-0900.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Weekly Business Hour. And now we're going to have a conversation with Miss Vicki Johnson. Vicki is the Executive Director of Montgomery County's Habitat for Humanity. Running a nonprofit is not unlike running a for-profit business. So Vicki provides some wonderful insight, because Habitat here in Montgomery County has a lot of moving parts. So I hope you'll enjoy this conversation. Please listen as we talk with Vicki Johnson.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, the weekly business hour is out in the community. And today we're lucky enough to stop in and visit with a good friend of the show, the folks at Habitat for Humanity. Vicki Johnson is the executive director, chief cook and bottle wash, right? That's how these nonprofits are. We do a little bit of everything. Vicki, I appreciate you taking time to visit with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. We're so glad you're stopping by.
And we want the community to know what you're doing. So let's just start off and allow you to tell us a little bit about Habitat Humanity in Montgomery County. What is it all about?
Yeah, Rick, we're just about, loving your neighbor as yourself. I mean, affordable housing and just trying to create a community where we can all have a decent place to live. We have two amazing programs. We have a new home construction program and a repair program. And we love to work with the community and volunteers and neighbors just to build a better place where we can all thrive.
One of the things that, because back when with the church, I volunteered on a Saturday and did a build. And when I think of Habitat, as I suspect most of us, it's about building a home for a family that, is in need. But you do a lot more at Habitat than just building those new homes that, again, my mental picture of Habitat, build a new home, loving family needs a place to live and I contribute. What else does Habitat do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, you know what, Rick, we prepare those homeowners. When you were working with your church, you saw some amazing families who probably look a lot like the people you run into at your grocery store or at your local delicatessen or at your kids' school or your grandkids' schools. And those homeowners, we have a program set up where we want to empower families to succeed in life. And many of them are first-time homeowners, and we want to give them the tools. We want to equip them. So we have all sorts of what we call kind of like a homeowner college, where people learn all about mortgages, how to pay their taxes, how to maintain their home, and how to really be a good neighbor. Because every Habitat homeowner not only helps build their own home, but they also help to build their neighbor's home. And that's why I love that whole help your neighbor. It's a hand up, not a handout, where we work together to build a community.
One of the things I hope people know is you have a store where you recycle building
Right.
products and whatnot. Just a brief bit of information about it.
Yeah, the Habitat Montgomery County Restore. The Restore model is a model where we receive donations from the community. So, from churches, from your neighbors. And at this time, it's really crazy. A lot of remodels are going on throughout the community. And all of those items come to the Restore and we sell them for a fraction of the cost. And all of those resources, all of those funds go back into the affiliate, the organization, to help build more homes. It's a wonderful place to shop right off of 242. And we accept all sorts of items and keep them out of landfills, keep them out of junkyards in order that we recycle and give back to the community. It's really a great model for us at Habitat.
Yeah, I have some friends that actually bought some cabinetry. I was impressed from
Yeah.
and installed it and refinished it, and it was great. They were happy, and it cost them, like you said, a fraction of what new cabinets.
Yeah,
So it's a great opportunity. Before we move on, I've got to ask you real quick, though. You mentioned you have a repair program. What is it that you do in the repair area?
Oh, Rick, I love our repair program because we have a lot of goals in mind, but the ultimate goal is to give a family a decent place to live. We've been fortunate to partner with foundations and local givers, and we work together with volunteers to help families patch roofs, replace roofs, maybe make modifications for ADA, for bathrooms, all sorts of things, AC. And if you can imagine being in Montgomery County or the greater Houston area now without AC, it could be challenging. But for low to moderate income families who have a problem just meeting making ends meet. Our goal and our heart is to just help them with those repairs. We're so fortunate because most recently, as an affiliate, we became an official veteran bill, aging in place, and women bill. And with veterans, we want to be able to help our veterans. We want to help people age in place well and create a place where they can just grow old and grow old well and safe and have the maintenance they need for their property. So yes, we have an amazing repair program.
That's exciting because again, my view was we build these houses, right, for Habitat for Humanity, and yet you do so much. I mean, you're providing opportunities for housing for people, safe, dry, clean housing to repair them if they got a leak, and cover a lot of waterfront. Let me ask you, I mean, one of the things people also might not know is indirectly or directly, when you're out there in the community doing all these things you do, you're helping the local economy, and folks need to hear that.
Yeah, you're right, Rick. I mean, we number one, we teach, in our programs, we teach our homeowners, the importance of, paying your property taxes that benefits our local economy, our schools, our infrastructure. So that's critically important. I think last year, our Habitat homeowners paid maybe over $200,000 plus in taxes that goes back into our local economy. So we really teach our homeowners to be good neighbors. But secondly, when we are building our community, sometimes we have to work with subcontractors. And those subcontractors are our neighbors and friends as well. And so they come from the community, small business owners, local businesses, contractors, subcontractors, and it just makes such a difference. And so we'd like to see ourselves as a partner, not only providing social benefits to the community through affordable housing, but also economically, and for what our programs do.
Well, there's no doubt in many ways you're contributing from your store, the restore, and the new builds, and all the things, all those moving parts bring in dollars into the economy.
Right.
If someone is interested in getting involved in the organization, how do they do that?
Yeah, I mean, you can find out about opportunities online, but you can also give us a call. Give us a call or check out our website at habitatmctx.org. We would love for you to be involved. Some of our best partners or friends are our neighbors from local organizations, businesses, churches, like you've been involved. And, I think it also starts with like fundamental education. A lot of times people don't know. They think Habitat is like a government subsidized program, but just educating them that we are here to empower families and to become productive neighbors and friends of the community. And so, yeah, please, habitatmctx.org, reach out to us, and we'd love for you to get involved in any part of our work. You don't have to swing a hammer to help, is something we say. I know you were out on the construction site, and we'd love to have you back sometime, Rick.
Well, it's a lot of fun to do that, and you do feel empowered, especially when the families are working with you. So it's not like, okay, we're going to build this house and hand a set of keys over to somebody. They're actually out there, the entire family, kids and all, working to build, at least in my case, where they're working with us, which made it even that much more rewarding to see how this is really a true benefit to the community. Got to ask you this question. All my business guests, everybody for the last, year, 2 years, all about COVID. We're coming out of it now, whatever that means. What does that look like to your organization? I mean, you mentioned lots of remodeling is going on. So you have a lot of donations of various types of building supplies. What else is happening as a result as we come off this COVID pandemic? Easy to find volunteers or not? What's going on with Habitat for Humanity now?
Sure. I'll tell you, we are a volunteer-based organization, Rick, as you know, like you mentioned, your work with the church. We can't do our work without the help of volunteers. I mean, we're a small staff. We have a construction manager, and but we rely heavily on volunteers to help to get the work done. I tell you, COVID was not easy. I'm working on my third year with the organization. So the first year we built 10 houses. During COVID, we were finishing up 9 homes. But I mean, on any given Saturday morning, we have a 30-acre subdivision that was donated the land was donated to us. And we're so honored to steward that because there's a lot of labor and love and volunteer hours in that project. But I tell you, I mean, you go for a busy Saturday morning with hundreds of volunteers, hammers going, nail guns going, everything happening to a whisper. And you try to figure out how are you going to give 9 families a home that you promised when everything's shuttered, because we want to keep our volunteers safe. I mean, that was so critically important to us as an organization. So we went from having hundreds to about 10 workers any given time trying to social distance and build a home. You tell me how that's possible. But I tell you, our construction manager, he pulled it together and made it happen. And we were able to fulfill our promise. This year, it looked a little different. I mean, we went from 9 homes to 4 homes. And that was really hard for us because we had all of the restrictions. I mean, we had a good partner like the John Cooper School who's built 21 homes with us. But we had to also think about the student body and keeping our partners and the children safe who lead that project. And so we are planning to recover strong. We're planning to get back on strategic plan and get back into operations. We're outdoors, but we still follow some of the precautions. But the basic thing is just to try to keep us all safe, but to move forward and try to get beyond the pandemic, saying we understand that there are still some concerns, but we really want to move forward and just trust the good Lord that everything's going to be okay,
Well, and there's no doubt everything will be okay. This today is a brighter day.
It is.
Hey, I appreciate you taking time to visit with us today and speak to the business community about what Habitat for Humanity does. I learned a lot, and I hope our listeners did as well. Vicki, one more time, if I want to get in touch with you to donate, volunteer, or just learn more, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, the best way to do it is check out our website at habitatmctx.org. That's habitatmctx.org. And the phone number is 936-441-4337 if anyone wants to give us a call. So thank you so much, Rick, for this time. And I hope that you get a chance to stop by soon and see our work.
Oh, I will make a point of it. And thank you.
Just make it in the morning, though, when it's cooler. Okay.
That time of year, right?
Yes.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a commercial break now, and then we'll continue with the show.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Vicki. Again, I hope you see, as I do, that running nonprofits, particularly when they have as many moving parts, as many different really business or business units as Habitat for Humanity does, that it's important that one who is in charge has great leadership skills, the experience necessary to make it happen day in and day out. And Vicki Johnson sure has that. Well, we're going to take our final break of the day. When we come back, I hope you'll stay with us. I'm going to offer my one best tip of the week entitled, and it's a long one, when was the last time you had one idea, just one, to increase the revenue of your business? So please stay with us. We'll be right back with you.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
God's Garage is a 501c3 that repairs and gives away cars for free to single moms, widows, and wives of deployed military. You can help God's Garage by donating a vehicle, volunteering your time, or by monetary donation. God's Garage is located at 2106 East Davis, Conroe. If you'd like to learn more about God's Garage, visit our website at godsgarage.org, or you can contact us and we would be glad to come and make a presentation to your group.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the final segment of today's show, the Weekly Business Hour. In just a moment, I'm going to offer you my tip of the week. But before I do that, I want to remind you, if you're listening and you're a business in the greater Montgomery County area, you could be a sponsor of this show. It's real easy. Just reach out to me at Rick, R-I-C-K, at irlonestar.com, and I'll get some information to you, because we really appreciate the sponsorships here at Lone Star Community Radio. It's a nonprofit organization, so it's a donation on your part. We'll list you as a sponsor, and you can be a real part of the show. As we wrap up this week, I'm going to offer my tip of the week, entitled, When Was the Last Time You Had One Idea to Increase the Revenue of Your Business? Well, I hope it was more often than that. If you answered, boy, I don't know when was the last time I really had an idea to increase the revenue of my business. I'm going to offer you three just off-the-cuff ideas. None of them necessarily have never been thought of, but three that I believe in the current environment, meaning the economic environment, the business environment that most of us are in, that might be most helpful. In other words, give you your biggest bang for the buck. But before I do that, I want to offer you a quick story. This is something that happened way back in my childhood. There was a brand of chili, a can of chili. Of course, if you live in Texas, you don't, right? We don't eat canned chili. It's always homemade. But this commercial stuck with me all my entire life. And basically it went something like, when was the last time you had a hot, steaming bowl of Wolf brand chili? Well, that's too long. Well, that's my thought today. If you haven't had an idea recently, something that you've tried to increase your revenue, this could be a new product, a new service, it could be tweaking your price list to get more money for the same services, creating a bundle. I mean, the list goes on and on. This doesn't mean you have to start a new business. It's not rocket science, but I think you need to refresh your revenue stream from time to time. At least annually look at it. I know some people in business, they look at it every day. Perhaps that's a little extreme. It takes your eyes off other issues maybe that need your attention. But the point is, you need to keep in mind, you own a business, refresh your revenue. And I'm going to give you three ideas of the way you can do that. First, and one that I personally am very connected with and believe, is become an expert in your industry. Everybody is in an industry. What the products you sell, the service you provide, you're involved in an industry. Think about becoming a subject matter expert. Now, you can become an expert that would help others in your industry. That's okay, that's cool. That way you get to know people and you thrive and you learn things from them that you can use in your business. So we're really talking about outside your competitive area. But I'm talking about becoming an expert about your product. If you're a plumber, be an expert about a plumber, okay? Most likely you have a master's license if you're a plumber, but tell people about it. Share tips and ideas, small nuggets that make your customers and potential customers say, this guy knows what he's talking about. This gal can take care of my issues because she knows what she's talking about. You get the idea? You're an expert. You probably got the knowledge already. You just need to talk about it. Put it out there. Put it on your website and those kind of things to communicate to people. Call me when you have a question about your plumbing. It's an interesting thing, but it is very, very effective. It takes time to ramp up. It takes time to put in place, but it's something I believe every business should seek to do. Become an expert. The second one is simple, requires a little more work though. Start a newsletter. Put out some kind of, it could be a digital newsletter, it could be a page, an email page. Have 3 or 4 categories, fill in the stories, even get other people to contribute, people that work for you, right? And give it a fit. Send it out to people, your existing customers. Try to build somewhat of a database of people in your area that you serve. Could be the whole country. Get that information out there to them. Show, again, your expertise as well as communicate. So when they think they need a product or service you provide, they think of you and not anyone else. And last but not least, find people you can partner with to market your business. Look for people in your communities. A lot of times you'll see these flyers have 1 or 2, 3 businesses on them. So somebody's gotten together and done a advertising, basic flyer. There's a lot of other things you can do. And if you connect yourself well with really strong quality businesses respected in your market, it really pays off. So think about ways you can connect with others and partner. It doesn't mean you're selling each other's products and services, but you're connecting yourself with a quality partner. I encourage you, look for new and old ideas that might work for you in your business today. There's so many opportunities in the marketplace today. They're just waiting for someone to pick them up and run with them. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Again, I appreciate you taking time to listen to us. And I want to thank Scott Snider and Vicki Johnson for sharing their experience and stories with us today. And please put a note on your calendar to join us again next Monday right here on irlonestar.com at 11 a.m. And until next week, I encourage you, stay engaged with your business and keep your focus on what counts in your business. Thanks.